Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic, Lesser Known Classics. This is episode number 2967, Doubleshot number 2861. We're here discussing first Green Lantern, Volume 3, issues 137 to 141. I was planning to go further, but there's actually two trades there, so that's the reason for that. So, these issues written by Joe Winnick, artwork by, Daryl Banks. So the issue opens up basically with Cobb posing to Jade, and she accepts. And well, he talks to his friend, and well, did they possibly get married? Well, it's not exactly shown here. He does a little more comic artwork here because, well, Kyle Rayner is still an artist, so he basically has to make a living. So it's a nice standalone issue. Moving on to issue 138, where Dale Ingersoll is taking over the artwork here. So, more about preparing for the wedding, and so you have Kyle talking to Martian Manhunter about this. So, these two go off to space, where they spend time on an alien planet. They just land, they just talk to the locals, they go to the beach. There's a funny bit here where she's basically lying on the beach topless. And there's a censor bar, which is so funny. And they get taken away. Yeah, I don't know if it's Kyle doing that, or if it's, I think it might be Kyle, so it takes away. And mostly put throughout these issues, it's basically Kyle and Jay just, well, dealing with there's an explosion happening, and them trying to deal with the culture here. And it's not like they're ignorant per se, it's just that they just don't like basically what's going on here. But they can't do much anything about it. They want to, but they just can't. As much as they want to, they just can't because the locals technically don't want help from them. Despite the fact they're Green Lanterns, and they could help if they want to, but they just, well, they of course help out a bit, but as for who the explosion is caused by, I think it's some local basic causes. Oh, some alien stuff here. There's a politician getting killed, and we kind of wrap this little two-part story up, and then move on to another story arc, which of course we have, well, we had the return of Jade's father, Alan Scott, in these issues, where it's just, by the way, you have David Banks back on the artwork here. It is mostly put these two just hanging out, and of course, just them chatting, and Jade, of course, happy to see her father. She's always happy to see her father. And then, of course, basically, Kyle and Scott decide to fight each other over Jade in the field. And there's really good constructs. Of course, talk about the contract stuff. And it's a nice standalone issue. Moving on to 141, the last issue to discuss here. Come on, seriously. I really wish I stopped doing that. Now, issue 141, Dale Ingersoll was back in the artwork here. This is basically all about John, looks like John Stewart, who was in a wheelchair. And it's called House of Fire, House on Fire. And 141 started the story, though 142 continues it. But I'm going to end it right here with this issue here, where he's interacting with this woman who looks a lot like Starfire in a prison uniform. Yes, except this is not. It looks like Starfire, and it looks like she's got closeness with him. But it's not Starfire. It just looks like her. And then we have some editor who's basically flirting with Kyle here. I was continuing for a bit, but basically 142 starts the very next trade here. And So they say some people from fire, and then of course they have this explosion happening. Kyle's able to protect him. He gets a little bit burned, covered in goo, and then the issue ends with this group known as Inferno, and that's the end of the 5 issues. Really good at 7 issues. A lot of fun. I give these issues a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is Tales of the Legion of Superheroes. This technically is from the second volume of Legion of Superheroes, issues 314, 325. Now, 326, the reason I was stopped at 325, there's actually a good reason why. And the reason is because 326 up until the final issue, which is 354, are all reprints. Yep. It's similar in the case with a couple other books that's published for a period of time where after a short period of time they call Tales, or another type of title, like Adventures of Outsiders, where it publishes news stories for a while, and then it just stops after publishing it for like a year. And then the book gets relaunched anyways. Well, in the case of this book got relaunched #1. New Teen Titans is also going to launch #1. And for the Outsiders, it was retitled to be Avengers of the Outsiders for a short period of time, and eventually became a reprint book. You're right. Your storytellers for these 12 issues are Paul Levitz, Keith Giffen, and Minnie Newell. Yep. Lots of good sci-fi stuff here. And of course, also in these early issues, we have, get this. Also, you have Carl Kess doing some artwork and Terry Schumacher. They, of course, have some aliens, obviously. But, of course, for a brief period of time, we actually have Supergirl part of the roster in these issues, except that she's wearing her early 80s attire. The attire she was wearing prior to her death in the Crisis of Infinite Earths. Yep. And, of course, also, there's stuff here with Mon-El, him and another Kryptonian who is not Superman. Superboy is actually not involved with these issues per se. Not really. Now, why is it called Tales of Legion of Superheroes? Well, the reason is actually really a really good answer, really. The reason is because they actually have backup features for this book. Yes, believe it or not, we have backup features. Yeah. The first one is called The Trial of Ortor, and the backup story is A Witch Shall Be Born. Now, Paul Levitz is the opening and second story here. Supergirl's here as a reservist. Basically, in the opening story, take on the Dark Circle. The backup story is the origin story of a character called White Witch. Yeah, she's a character who, well, apparently she was married to a guy named Mordru. Yes, one of the Lords of Chaos. Yes. And she's a character who's around somewhat involved with superheroes for a pretty good period of time. Yeah, she's been in the group for years. Her first appearance actually was in Adventures Comics number 350, and she's a creation of Ed Nelson Bridwiller and Kurt Swan. And the origin story is about Paul Levitz. So we start with some supernatural stuff and eventually turn to some sci-fi stuff. But this person, Ultra, he's the alien who they find here. Yeah, he's actually an alien who debuted in Superboy Lead Superheroes. So, then he died in this issue, but he comes back. Don't worry. And of course, backup story still continues telling the origin story of White Witch. With issue 316, we bring in the Legion Academy, which members are Cosmic Queen Laurel Kent. She is a descendant of Superboy, who died in Volume 3. So Bounty Boy is an issue, but he's a reservist. And More so dealing with White Witch. Also, I should point out though that the Legion of Heroes headquarters period of time. Those of you who look up anything related to Legion of Heroes, they think there is a base of operations, the rocket that's basically put on the ground thing aside. No, they have not used that since the 60s. At this point in time, it's this gigantic embassy that was established when Jerry Conway was around with the book, and they still use it for the longest period of time. I don't think they ever stopped using it. Also, Nero takes over some Ready Do with issue 316. 317, we get a little more larger roster with this one, where it's mostly just Bouncy Boy, Cosmic Boy, Duo Damsel, Bouncy Boy's wife, Invisible Kid, and Wildfire take on a creature known as a Dream Demon. Then we have the Heroes of Latur, who didn't really appear very much though, and the members are Elbow Lad, Duplicate Boy, Gas Girl, and Life Lass. Yeah, it's a story involving them. And yeah, the opening story is first we have Minnie Newell basically take over the co-writing duties. And finally with 318, we finally have some sci-fi stuff. We had Return to Pursuer here. Classic Legion of Heroes villain who's created by Jim Shooter. Now, this was, of course, first time he had fought the Legion of Heroes at this point in time. First time since, issue 300. That was the time he appeared in the book. But, yeah, he's been a recurring villain for them. And he's also been another working member of the Fatal Five. We also first appearance of a character named Lady Mercury, who is a animated shuttle ass, who is only around for 2 issues. Yeah, they don't have backup feature for 318, but, yeah, it's just a Paul Levy who does not do any co-writing news this one. With issue 318, they basically just finish up with the character after dealing with her for a couple issues, and then finally back to backup feature with issue 320. Also in this book, Starboy, his alpha here, he also worked in the Just Like America when he became insane and partially amnesia. The opening story is called Magpie Complex. And Magpie is not the Prime Universe Magpie. Oh no. This is a completely different character. He's around for just this issue only. This is his sole ever appearance. And the backup story focuses on Yasun Boy and Colossal Boy going to a bar. And this one, by the way, the opening story for this one, the opening and backup story are drawn by classic Superman artist, Papa Superman artist, more say, and writer Dan Jurgens. Yep, he did this one. And then 321, we're getting to the very end here, don't worry. Basically, in the case of this one, the opening story, this one here is all about searching for Dawnstar, because she has gone missing. Minnie Newell and Paul Levitz is writing, Dan Jurgens did the artwork. Carl Kitzel does the inking for this issue, and we continue on to issue 322 as it relates to the book. Also, a little note, Elemental Light is the leader of the team for this one. Deputy leader is Dream Girl. 323, the issue I thought was originally going to be the last issue, but nope, continued for 2 more issues. They continue this feature stuff with, it's more like the Dawnstar storyline. Starts 321 and continues on until about 323. And then 324, they bring back the Dark Circle. Yes, the supernatural group they first fought for years. They come back for this issue. And they're actually here until 325. Yeah, they're here for the remaining few issues of this book before its relaunch. And the backup story focuses on Invisible Kid and Shrinking Violet going on a mission. Ernie Cullen does the backup story for 324. 325, 5 to Infinite Power, which is the final story when it was known as when it was a regular book, because beginning with the very next issue, it becomes a reprint book. Once again, take on the Dark Circle, and that's pretty much it. Interesting stuff here, per se. There's not much when it comes to sci-fi stuff related to these issues. A lot of it is just, dealing with a supernatural, which is different per se, but I do enjoy it. Paul Levitt does an excellent job writing this group. And with this per se, we are done with Volume 2 because many issues of this book are all reprints. Yes, the remaining 39 issues are all reprints. Yep. Final thoughts on Legion of Superheroes, Volume 2. An excellent book. And of course, this particular run is also noteworthy for featuring the story that's considered the greatest Legion of Superheroes story of all time, the Great Darkness Saga. Which, in the story, they reveal the Great Darkness is Darkseid himself. Though there are elements of the story for Dark Crisis, except the Great Darkness was not Darkseid, it was a separate being. Not sure why William Smith for, but it did. And I do agree with the opinion comes to relate to a Great Darkness Saga, is that they spoiled the revelation on the freaking cover. And I'm not sure why the DC thought this was a good idea. You could have just a vague cover, have like this, we have this Great Darkness, you can hint at Darkseid, but you don't need to show him on the cover. Yes. But this era put out a lot of really good stories. Yes, the numbering is a continuation about 2 different books. Like, first, this book was originally known as Superboy Volume 1, and then it was changed, I think, with issue 223 to Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, and this lasted into issue 258, which is the last issue called that, and then from 259 to this very number is, in fact, Volume 2, Legion of Superheroes. Even continues in our book's numbering, but it's kind of considered to be the first official volume, kind of, even though the second volume, actually. But next to discuss the Legion of Superheroes will be Volume 3. 3 is not as long as Volume 2. Oh no, it is not. Yeah, Volume 2, if you take out the remaining issues, like if you take out is, like, even though it says like 96, but if you take out the remaining like 39 issues, let's see. That would be pretty much this book lasted for about... Well, this book technically in a way lasted for about 8 years, but if you take out those remaining 39 issues, that means it's like about 57. Yep, 57 issues. Now, Volume 3, meanwhile, though, is not as long as... Now, by the way, there is another annual, which I think I may discuss all the annuals in this one. I think so, yes. But there is... Now, Volume 3, it is a tad longer. Like, if you don't count reprint issues, it is a little bit longer than this volume. Like, it is, like, about 6 issues longer. So, about the same length, per se. Yes, this will take a bit of time to go through. But Volume 4... Oh my gosh, this book will take me a long time to go through remaining issues of this book. This book is 125 issues. So, since I've already taken care of volumes 5 through 8 already, and since volume 2 is done, I now officially have 2 more volumes left to go for Legion of Superheroes, and that's it. But the obvious question is, when I finish Legion of Superheroes, what's place it? Probably Karate Kid. And maybe it's my Legion of Superheroes spin-off books. It's possible. Yep. I give these issues a 10 out of 10. They're really fun issues. Okay, so that's pretty much it particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button. Well, sadly put, this is probably the last video for the evening, so I will see you all tomorrow for my mini videos. Okay, thanks for you. Bye.